Boom, what's up, guys? Here's a video we've all seen where a police officer means to tase someone but actually shoots them at a traffic stop. So, real tragedy. These guys are doing business as usual. They're getting ready to arrest this individual. Everything's going as planned at the moment. Getting ready to put the hooks on. The struggle begins. Taser, taser, taser. Shoots the individual. And it's obvious that this officer did not mean to shoot this individual. For those of you who believe that, I'm definitely pro order. I'm definitely the type of guy that's pro law enforcement, because our law enforcement stand between us and absolute and utter chaos. I have seen chaos overseas. I've been to well over 60 some odd countries doing private security operations. And even when I was in the Marine Corps infantry, we got to behave, we got to act in countries, in Iraq specifically, where there is no law enforcement, there is no law. First place I showed up to, all the police officers were killed off before we got there, So I support our law enforcement officers. And what's really interesting, if you go to the actual hood, you don't watch the news, a lot of good people out there support our law enforcement agencies too. So don't let the media make you believe that everybody's against law enforcement. That's actually not true. I talk and work with a lot of them, and they're like, actually, the public, they understand the value of our contributions. But in this situation, this was a result of, this was bad work. This was bad work. And there's no way around it. There's no, I support our folks, but I also support the truth and being 100% transparent with what went on here. This was bad work. And in my opinion, I'll go ahead and walk you through what I see go wrong here. I don't do police work, so I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on what these guys did do right or wrong. But I will tell you this, one of the responsibilities of anyone carrying all the gear that you have to carry to do this job, and I do work 100% kitted up on a weekly basis, plate carrier, firearm, bags, we do all that stuff. And one of the things that, is a very big deal to a professional working in this capacity is understanding your gear, understanding the placement of every single item that you have at your charge to bring to bear when you're in the field. You need to be able to understand. You should, with the lights off, with your eyes closed, be able to touch all your gear and understand where every single thing is on your person. You should be able to manipulate your gear with your eyes closed. You should be able to know where everything is, and every single item that you are bringing to bear in that combative situation should be something that you are familiar enough to grab and implement with zero visibility in high stress situations. And this comes from practice, and this comes from range time, and this comes from what we call underwear hours, when you're at your house watching a movie and you're just sitting there and you're accessing your different tools and you're placing your tools in positions where you know where everything is. You can reach them with both hands in many cases, so that you're 100% familiar with your tools. In my opinion, if I saw something like this happen out in the field, this is a failure of that individual to be familiar with their gear. And also, if we went up the chain of command, maybe a failure in training to make sure that agents in the field are familiar with that gear as well. Because if you're able to grab, keep in mind, when you're triggered, when you're in fight or flight, your brain is skipping and taking shortcuts to help you survive that violent altercation. The things that the tools that you're utilizing, you must be subconsciously, unconsciously competent with. And to not have that is something that takes place if you have not been intimate enough in the training of those weapons. The second you grab your firearm, you should instantly know it's your firearm. You should instantly be able to feel the weight in that firearm. You should know your round count. You should know about how much gas, how much ammunition you have in that firearm as you're utilizing it. You should be 100% intimate and connected to these tools. To be able to make a mistake like this, and I say this with all due respect, comes from not being intimate and not and from your job being a 9 to 5 and not really truly a lifestyle that you are living. You know what I'm saying? So this type of thing can happen when you're not in these types of high stress situations, and then all of a sudden you are, and then all of a sudden you can make a mistake like this because you haven't done those dry runs, you haven't done that practice. And ultimately, you know, what I think this really points to is the reality that our law enforcement folks are out there daily putting their life on the line. Every time you pull a car over, you are playing Russian roulette. You are literally writing a blank check that you may have to cash, and it may take your life. You don't know if the person in the vehicle is going to be willing to go the distance to be like, I'm not going to jail today, or if they're just going to go along with you. You do not know. You have no idea. So you're writing a blank check every single time you lace your shoes up and go to do that job. Same with private security professionals and really even civilians that are placing themselves in dangerous positions or just going to work. You've got to be ready to protect yourself. So this is why I say protection is much more than just a job. It really is a lifestyle. And if you want to see a better performance out of our law enforcement professionals, we honestly need to get them more funding to get higher quality training on a more frequent basis in order to give them more force options. They need efficacy. You need to be effectacious. You need competence with more tools so that you don't have to go to guns as often, so that you are familiar with your different tools, so you have trust in your different tools, and so you can utilize those tools with the lowest margins of mistakes that are possible. So this whole movement to defund these guys is literally counterproductive. If you want to see a higher performance, we need more training, because you will not degrade to your highest level of training when you are in the abyss, the belly of the beast. You will not degrade to your highest level of training. What you will do is you will degrade to your baseline of training, the level of training you are unconsciously competent at bringing into effect your baseline of training, the level of training that you can do with the least amount of bandwidth required in order to survive and solve higher quality equations and survive that violent encounter. So this is why we train our baseline, so we can increase the quality of that baseline performance. Okay, so when you're looking at situations like this, not being intimate with that firearm, not being intimate with the taser, is how you make mistakes like this. And to me, this is something, as a business owner, I would say is a failure for me to train my guys and my girls, the people that are out in the field, to make sure that they can't make mistakes like this, because they have the software up here written to be able to more effectively act when they're out in the field. Ultimately, the responsibility is on you when it comes to the decisions you make in a violent altercation. And that's why you must always train that baseline and be familiar with your gear, familiar with your tactics, in order to make sure that you and your friends survive these violent altercations, because thinking in these equations is going to be something you'll only be able to do if you have those basic skills already established. Byron Rodgers, Tactical Protection Review. My condolences to everyone involved. And I say this with a pure heart, not to judge anyone, but to eliminate certain things that can help us all survive violent altercations on both sides of the blue line. More funding, more training, more support, and helping us all to do a better job. Remember, be peaceful but not harmless, and I look forward to seeing you guys at the Protector Symposium, which we do law enforcement scholarships for. So go to protectorsymposium.com, and we'll love to train with everybody: civilians, private security professionals, and law enforcement professionals, first responders. All right, y'all. See y'all out there. Boom.